Welcome back to Movie Recap. Today we will be talking about Indecent Proposal, a 1993 classic movie. As you watch, don't forget to like and subscribe. Full recap script. Indecent Proposal is a love story about a couple struggling financially. The movie begins with the two main protagonists talking about how they met each other and got married. Diana and David met in high school, with David always dropping Diana and her best friend off after school. David proposed to her at 19, and even though her parents opposed it, they eloped and got married. David works as an architect while Diana works as a real estate agent. David got fired while Diana couldn't close a sale for 6 months. Their finances begin to crumble and the bank threatens to seize their house as they have no source of income to pay back the loan they took to build David's dream house. David decides to dive into gambling to pay the $50,000 debt they are owing the bank, and even though he won on his first few tries, he lost everything back in the next few days. Diana runs into a rich man while in the gambling room. He agrees to pay for a dress Diana was trying out, but she declines. The man is John Gage, a billionaire who isn't afraid to stake high in a gambling table. He approached David and Diana and asked if he could lend his wife luck. With Diana by his side, he lost the card game. She tells him she is probably not that lucky, but John asks her if she likes dice and she tells him yes. John stakes $1 million on the next dice game and asks Diana to roll a 7. Luckily, she rolls a 7 and John wins the bet. He offers Diana and David a room at the hotel. He sends Diana a gift through Shackleford, his driver. It is the dress Diana was trying out the other time. Later that night, they attend a gathering hosted by John. There he offers the couple the sum of $1 billion just for a night with Diana. They reject the offer at first, but out of desperation, Diana asks David to think it through since it is just a night. He agrees to the deal and calls his lawyer friend, Jeremy, to finalize and close the deal. After completing the deal, Jeremy and David leave Diana alone with John. But once he realizes it isn't a good decision, he ran back to the room only to find out that John and Diana are on the rooftop. Before he could get to the rooftop, a helicopter had picked the two up. He is devastated, regretting the decision he made with Diana. John takes Diana on a boat for the night where they had intercourse as agreed on in the contract. Diana returns to meet a devastated and unhappy David the next morning and they sleep with each other. They went to the bank the next day to get back their house, but it had been sold to a new owner. David left the bank with rage and anger. David couldn't hold back the displeasure that his wife slept with another man. He becomes suspicious of his wife, suspecting that she is having an affair with John. His suspicion grew when he saw John Gage's card in her bag. Diana denies seeing John, and to save her marriage from falling, she goes to meet her friend who works at the bank to ask for the details of the new owner of their house. Surprisingly, the new owner is John Gage. She went over to meet John at a restaurant and she caused a scene there. John tells her he wants her to work for him, but she declines. Back at home, David asks her where she went to. She tells him she went to see John, but before she could say anything, David smashed a bottle of wine on the wall and asked her if she went to sleep with him. Diana tells him it isn't what he is thinking, and David went further to ask her what happened that night on the boat. Out of bitterness, she tells him about that night with John. David left the house angrily. He didn't come back home and went over to stay at Jeremy's place. Diana called Jeremy to tell him she doesn't want any part of the money. David also said he doesn't want the money. Since neither of them wants the money, Jeremy said he is going to take it. Weeks passed, and Diana and David didn't see each other. John comes to Diana's real estate office seeking a $10 million house. Diana's boss puts her in charge of the project. After checking out a house, John says he didn't like it. He throws advances at Diana, but she isn't interested. The next house they visit is John's house. John tells her that the house needs her and he'd like to take her in as his wife. He asks her to dance with him before going, and as she leaves late in the night, they kiss each other. Meanwhile, David takes up a job working as an architecture teacher. At the end of one of his classes, Jeremy visits him with a divorce paper from his wife. He asks her where she is at present. He went to the audition she is at with John. There, he bid $1 million for a painting that John had bid $50,000 for. John gives him and Diana some privacy so they could discuss. He signed the divorce paper and left her. As John and Diana return, John tells her she is the best out of the many he had been with. Diana is surprised to hear this. Meanwhile, John is lying to her just to get her to lose interest in him. After seeing her with David earlier, he believes they are meant to be together. Diana alights from the car, but before she does that she gives him a goodbye kiss. She boards a bus and goes to the park where David proposed to her. She meets David there. An emotional moment between the two sees them confess their feelings to each other again. Just like that, a relationship that looks like it was about to crash finally comes back to life. Outro. Did you enjoy this wonderful recap on the indecent proposal? Would you have allowed your spouse to sleep with another man or woman because of $1 million? Leave out your opinion in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe.